Okay, yeah, so we're back. So I made some notes, and of course they will have been on the screen. You will have seen some of them. It's a very new prog, new prog, N-E-U. What's the... is that the right spelling? Or maybe even pop prog in a way. It's like... it's not so hardcore like a lot of the prog I grew up with in the 70s. And, these 20-minute songs are usually... I don't know, they're more musicianship centered, but they come off without sounding too indulgent. I don't know how they did it. Steve and Wilson, Porcupine Tree, they don't sound like indulgent musicians. There's not an indulgent musicianship there in a negative way. I mean, there is a positive sense of indulgent musicianship where you're celebrating your skills, just like an Olympian or whatever, making an amazing dive, or an athlete doing something really well. I mean, to me, that is a very different motive in musicianship and quote-unquote showing off versus just expressing, And I think a lot of the classic prog rockers did that. Yeah, there's like hints of Pink Floyd. The bass player is great. I love his bass sound and his fingering with the bass. These high parts, little chord there, 2-note chords sliding around. Yeah, it was kind of cool to hear a chorus bass. I haven't heard a chorus bass in a while. That used to be more common, especially in the 70s, and I guess in the 80s too. Drummer's fantastic too, very tasty. I noticed it's got so many of those little swish cymbals. This song, some of the parts reminded me very much of Alan Parsons, and I know there is a connection who I believe he produced one of the albums, probably the one album that Steven Wilson album that I downloaded, because he also, I think, put an emphasis on melody and as well as production. It's sort of like a complete package. That's Porcupine Tree and Steve Wilson. To me, it's a complete package. It's not just the music, but it's the production and everything. It's the whole vision. Parts of this reminded me of Matrix. Some of the rocking parts. Actually, yeah, why doesn't Porcupine Tree or Wilson do soundtracks? I think they'd do some fine soundtracks, because he has a cinematic sound. The Porcupine Tree is kind of a cinematic band. And I guess that's why I thought of Alan Parsons. That's what it is. Alan Parsons is very grand and cinematic too. Yeah, there was one part I heard this, they must have had a loop. They must have had a click track. And because there was some guitar playing over and over and over again, but I didn't see anyone actually playing it. Steve went onto a keyboard. I'm excited now to hear the studio version now that I've heard the live. I like this. Now I'm thinking, okay, yeah, so that was cool. What was the original vision of that song in the studio? I want to compare that and contrast that with what I just heard. So that's it. Thanks. Make sure you join the Wolf Pack and subscribe and be a member. And someday I'll get into Patreon or something, but not any day soon. But if you did ever want to make donations, I do have a link down below. I think I've been putting it there. It's a PayPal thing. You can, if you wanted to wire me some money into my account, to support the channel, I'd appreciate that. Well, talk to you all later. It's Dean spiraling out. Bye.